Welcome, everybody, to episode 1 of the Alpha and Sierra podcast, where we talk all things Muay Thai. My name's Anton.
I am Stu.
Welcome. Um, this first episode, how you feeling, Stu?
I am keen. Keen just to have a chat and have some fun.
Yeah, so a little bit about ourselves. I'm pretty new to Muay Thai. I've been training under Stu's coaching for about 6 months now. Never done any martial arts before, and I've been a fan of like UFC, MMA, that sort of stuff. But fallen in love with Muay Thai, and here we are. And Stu,
I'm not so new to Muay Thai. Just started a gym in Brisbane, had a gym in Melbourne previously. I've trained for many years and just enjoy doing the coaching side of it now.
yeah, and you said you had a gym, know what you're doing. You
I tried.
competed as well.
I have competed.
Yeah, how many years did you compete for?
It was just 12, 18 months of competition, and then the gym grew exponentially, and I had to focus on that rather than the competition side of things.
Yeah, sweet. And so you opened up your gym while you were training, while you were fighting professionally?
No, I opened it first,
Okay.
training away, and it just it grew rapidly.
Yeah, right. Okay, interesting. How long you been up here at in Queensland for?
Moved up here Christmas 2019. When I first came up, I was doing some coaching at a gym on the Gold Coast, and the travel was a bit much. Did some more work, and I've decided to get back into the Muay Thai side of things and keep it only Muay Thai because the gym in Melbourne was MMA, wrestling, boxing, jiu-jitsu, and Muay Thai. So yeah, just keep it small and much easier to manage.
Yeah, cool. And you've had, obviously, you guys have had a few fights recently. What do you have coming up?
We've got Sol, who's coming up for his third fight already. He had his first fight on a week's notice. Then he had his second fight on 4 days' notice. He's won both of those, and he's stepping up to compete on aggression again on August the 10th.
How's he going to go having more time to actually prepare this time?
I think he's probably planned inside his head a bit too much.
Okay.
He's got that time to prepare and think about it too much. Previously, it was just training. We're on.
Yeah. And how the boys going? They're looking ready for their bout?
They're good. Yeah. They're getting some sparring in other gyms as well, so they're sort of.
Oh, nice. How does that work out when you get sparring in other gyms? I've seen you've put these sessions on before. Do you contact other gyms or?
Yeah, so obviously throughout being in the scene, you get to know people. You build relationships, and you just sort of communicate, and it becomes a big. Muay Thai is not a very big community in Australia. Like, people in Perth and Queensland and Melbourne, South Australia. So you sort of, and with social media these days as well, everybody socializes a lot more and gets to know one another a lot more.
Yeah, right.
And because people are putting stuff out there, you go, oh, hey, this guy looks all right, or might like to see if we can train with them.
Yeah.
A little bit of cross-training.
Is that how you get fights sort of organised as well? People?
Yeah, it can be a couple of ways. Promoters can see one of your guys competing on another show, and then I say, oh, I like this guy. We'll go on. Is he available? Can we get him on a show? I reckon he would match up good with such and such. It's a bit harder with the guys who are just starting out because they're still finding their way. As they've developed a little bit of experience and their style shows and their ability shows more, then people look at it and they put 2 and 2 together, and Sol would look good matched against this guy. I think they've got good styles or opposing styles, or
yeah, right.
Look at it that way.
So in the end, they just want to put good fights on and see something nice and competitive. Yeah, that's interesting. Something I've always been curious about with Muay Thai and fighting in general is like the stepping stones of going from like amateur to professional. How does that work? Like, do you start off as an amateur and then one day just go, I'm ready, I'm going to start fighting for the dosh?
Interesting topic. There are more pathways now. There never used to be those sort of pathways. It was pro.
Yeah, right.
There was no. If you were competing with shin guards, it was just sort of hard sparring. Then slowly it progressed, and there was amateur fights where you had the shin guards or shin guards and headgear and elbow pads. And different states have varied as well. So That was different going from Melbourne up here. Now what's good is the regulations and all the different guidelines that you can compete within. So there are the amateur pathways. So you can go from sparring at your own gym, sparring at other gyms. So you're doing a little bit of inter-club sparring. And then you've got your amateur levels now. And there's divisions within those as well.
Yeah, cool.
5 fights, 6 to 10 fights, 11 plus fights, etc.
And one thing I want to hear you talk about, something that I'm pretty passionate about, is you're starting to work on a bit of a amateur pathway within your own gym.
Yeah.
Called it Path to Black.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
It is my stepping stone to bridge the gap between sparring in the gym to competition.
Yeah.
So participants, they'll do 6 weeks to a fight camp, essentially do what the boys and the girls would do for their fight camp in a 6-week period. And at the end, they're competing against somebody from our own gym. So they're doing the training element, and they're also getting the competitive element by getting out there, having a hard sparring match in the ring.
Yeah.
So it's just taking a bit of the fear out of it, I suppose, because it's not the unknown. It's not somebody they don't know. They're getting to spar with somebody who they've kind of trained with and they've gotten to know.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Oh, I like that.
And there's people that will take that and go, right, I've done that. That was pretty cool. I'll do the next one. And there's people that will finish it and go, all right, sweet. I want to go to the next step.
It's a good way for people to find out whether competing's right for them.
It is. And I'm making it a pathway within the gym. So if people do want to compete, they've got to do one of these first.
Yeah.
And it does more than just get them out there and compete at the end of it. It shows that they can do 6 weeks of training and be disciplined and be motivated, and they can stick to the guidelines that are set out. And it's not a strict 6 weeks either. It's a loose 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So like the training is not as strict as it would be for a normal competitor.
Yeah, right.
But it's still got the elements of discipline for these amount of sessions per week.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And I guess you kind of see how they go under pressure.
Yeah.
Under the lights and seeing how they go with people, like the coach, giving them instructions and how they handle that while they're trying to fight. And
and it was also how people go with different personalities as well.
Mm-hmm.
Different coach or training alongside different partners, having to spar with somebody different. People always have their favourites.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Just getting them outside of the comfort zone.
Yeah, cool. Got any fights coming up that you're interested in watching?
There's one tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's fighting tonight?
It is Harry Ritter and Chica Michael. Chica Michael's from Riddler's Gym in Perth.
Yeah.
He competed here a little while back. He's good to watch. All Riddler's fighters good to watch. You know what you're going to get from it.
Yeah, nice.
And it's in 4-ounce gloves. So
wow. Okay.
Yeah, Muay Thai match in 4-ounce gloves, and so that's on Muay Thai League. And the winner is going into it's called the Champions Series, and the winner will go and compete in a 4-man in Canada, I believe it is.
Oh wow!
So the winners of 4 different events are all competing under another event in I think it was Canada.
So you said they're fighting in 4-ounce gloves.
Yeah.
Have you seen a lot of that starting to happen more with the popularity of like the one fight series and stuff like that?
Yeah, there are more places doing it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, particularly up here in Queensland.
Yeah, I've been to a few events now, and I haven't seen any that have fought with 4-ounce. So, what do they normally fight in? Are they 10 or 8? What are the fights?
Well, it depends on the weight division.
Right.
So it will be 10 ounce for 70 kilos and above, 8 ounce for under that.
I still look at those weights and think how I see some of the guys walking around at like 80 kilos and they're just ginormous. And I'm there, I am sitting at 90 kilos and I'm like, oh, please don't.
Yeah. And over time, as you train, your body just develops the way it wants to. People become a lot leaner than they thought they were going to become, and it just they find their place.
Yeah, I'm starting to find that with myself, definitely. The more weight that kind of comes off my body, to realise that there's still plenty left there.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see. so for myself, when I started training with Stu, I was at 106 kilos. I'm at 90 now, and I still feel like I've got a long way to go. But seeing your body change through training within Muay Thai, it's unreal. Like your flexibility, your strength, your even just doing skipping, your ankles don't buckle anymore, that sort of stuff.
What I did notice last night, Thursday night, the rounds were on 3 minutes for skipping for one of the sessions. They normally do 2, and it really showed.
Yeah.
Just that 1 minute difference in the skipping.
Yeah.
Really showed how conditioned they were to 2, not for 3.
Yeah, right. You can see people start to look. I noticed, because I've seen it happen a couple of times, or when you've put ones on. I think we've done like a 10-minute round with just a single skipping session before, and people start to look over at the clock and go, "What's going on?" We'll look over at Stu and try and find out what's he done to us.
Between rounds, when I see people that are looking at the clock, they just stop the clock.
Yeah.
Keep working.
Oh, you've done this before, have you? Yeah. Nice. I touched on one series. I like watching like the big events and stuff, and I've started to watch a little bit of like RWS and some of the other promotions. But what did you think of Tawan Chai and Joe Nadawat?
Oh yeah.
What do you think of that number 2? They've just lined up number 3, haven't they?
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
We'll find out number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they both have something to prove.
Cracker.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
It's funny. Smoke and Joe sort of came not out of nowhere, but not as well known as some of the others.
Yeah,
he's just sort of come up into this sphere of competitors, and he's doing good.
He's doing well.
He fought kickboxers to start with, and he kind of didn't know what he had.
Ah, okay.
He was fighting more kickboxing.
So he was doing kickboxing.
He was fighting against kickboxers in kickboxing rules in one, or maybe it was K1 kickboxing rules.
What's the biggest difference between like Muay Thai and kickboxing for someone like me? Is it just the fact you can't use elbows, or is there?
Well, there's traditional kickboxing, punches and kicks.
Yeah.
So now there's kickboxing where there's knees allowed, but no clinching. So it really just depends on the rule set.
Yeah.
So Muay Thai, so you can have someone competing Muay Thai with no knees to the head, or Muay Thai with no elbows.
Oh, okay.
So modified Muay Thai rules.
Yeah, okay. That's interesting.
But that they are just more. You see that sometimes as well, where they're bringing competitors up through. They just have their first few fights, and they'll have no elbows, or elbows with elbow pads, which is all good.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to accommodate, I guess you could say, it's accommodate the people for where they're comfortable.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. It's good to see.
Having said that, that's what I'm trying to do now with Path to Black is it's Muay Thai. So you've got elbow pads, headgear, shin pads, gloves. It's like amateur Muay Thai.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'm excited about that.
You have the whole skill set available. You just have the protective equipment.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. You see that a lot. You were talking about seeing that a lot in Victoria, and I've noticed some of the fights coming up on my YouTube feed, and I watched a few, and you can see the full gear and everything, and it's good to watch actually still with all that protective gear still.
Yeah.
It's still just it's competitive fight. So
we see that the amateur scene in Victoria and New South Wales, it's killing it.
Yeah, right.
They're just getting, because Victoria's doing a show each month, I believe it is, an amateur event each month where the guys just enter, compete.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
you'll need something like that up here, eh?
And that's how you absolutely need something like that.
Yeah, we'll touch on that a bit more in another session, I reckon. I've got to say it's a bit of a hot take, but you like watching UFC, MMA, that sort of stuff as well, and I came up from watching a lot of that. Loved it, but ever since I started watching Muay Thai, I find watching UFC boring.
Yeah, well, that, I guess, to some people would be boring, but then to guys who like the wrestling side of it or the grappling side of it,
yeah,
they prefer them to be wrestling and grappling.
Yeah, for sure.
Just horses for courses.
Yeah, 100%. No, I get that.
Stand them up.
Yeah, I like the stand up sort of style. I feel like they're seeing the guys fighting in Muay Thai. They I feel like they're more like a warrior. They're getting in there and they're really having a battle.
Yeah.
They
get back to their feet and off they go again.
Yeah, in MMA, it's mixed martial arts, so you pipping one type of martial art against the other. I still like watching it. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I just don't enjoy it as much anymore. I'd more happy to watch a couple of strikers go at it than when I watch like someone that's good at wrestling versus someone that's not, because most of the time how it's going to go. I think I'm pretty. You want to talk anything else?
No, I'm good.
That's pretty much it for our little first episode, little introduction as to who we are and where we're kind of going with it all and our headspace. Do you have any questions for me, Stu, or anything in general?
Do I have any questions for you? I've got questions for you every time you train.
Oh, shit.
We've always got to ask the question of ourselves, don't we?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Sometimes it's easier. Sometimes it's harder, especially just getting up out of bed in the morning. But do we really want it? Do we really want to get out there and train and fight and compete and all that sort of stuff? Or the only person that can answer that is us. Yeah.
Correct.
Right. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.